When you commit to counseling and you want to heal from CPTSD, narcissistic abuse, there's most likely going to be the question at some point where your therapist or counselor is going to ask you, what are you doing for yourself? What are you doing for fun? It is at that point where you realize how very much you actually have neglected yourself in life or in that toxic relationship that you were in. And even after coming out of that, because you're so traumatized, you realize you haven't really done much for yourself, something that gives you joy and fulfillment, because you're so preoccupied with the thought of healing or with all the problems that CPTSD brings with it, or still thinking about your narcissistic ex-partner. I committed to counseling for 2 years after I came out of my abusive relationship, and I remember what that meant to me. I remember when my counselor asked me the question, what brings you joy? What are you doing for yourself? I'm a passionate filmmaker and I love watching movies. And I realized that when I came out of my abusive relationship, I didn't even have the capacity anymore to watch an entire feature film. So when I was asked the question, that was the first time I actually started thinking about it. And luckily, I had a free ticket to the movies. And I went to see Mission Impossible. I remember that I brought the ticket with me to counseling and I told my counselor about this. I said, hey, I went to the movies. And the moment I mentioned that to her and she started smiling at me, I realized how very much I actually neglected the things that brought me joy and fulfillment in my life before I met the narcissist. Simple things as going to the movies and just, sitting there by yourself, enjoying yourself, being entertained. I had completely forgotten about that until she reminded me of that. So yeah, this is probably one of the things that you will also be confronted with when you enter counseling or therapy. Having to remember what brought you joy before you were in an abusive relationship.